Imagine for a moment that everything you see, the solidity of the ground beneath your feet, the weight of your body, the faces of those you love, is nothing more than an elaborate projection. A shimmering veil of light and information, meticulously crafted to appear real. What if the walls of your world are not walls at all, but illusions, vibrating at a frequency so convincing that you've never thought to question them? This is not science fiction. This is the hidden architecture of existence, the grand deception woven into the very fabric of your perception. For centuries, mystics, sages, and now even quantum physicists have whispered the same startling truth. Reality is a hologram. Not in the sense of a cheap digital trick, but in the way a masterful painting contains layers of meaning invisible to the untrained eye. Your life, your struggles, your joys day are all part of an intricate cosmic code, a dynamic interplay of energy and consciousness. And the most shocking revelation of all, you are not just living inside this hologram, you are the programmer. But how could this be? If reality is so malleable, why does it feel so rigid? Why do we suffer, toil, and feel trapped by circumstances that seem beyond our control? The answer lies in the conditioning of the mind, the unseen forces that have trained you to accept limitation as law. From the moment you were born, you were handed a scripted set of rules about what is possible, what is real, and who you are supposed to be. Schools, governments, religions, even the very language you speak reinforce this illusion, keeping you locked inside a predefined reality tunnel. Yet, there have always been those who slipped through the cracks. The shamans who walked between worlds, the alchemists who turned lead into gold, the saints who performed miracles. They knew the secret. Reality is not fixed. It is a consensus dream, a shared hallucination that can be rewritten. And now, in this pivotal moment of human evolution, the veil is thinning. Synchronicities multiply. Dreams bleed into waking life. The old structures crumble, and in their place, a new question arises. What if you could reprogram the hologram? This is not about wishful thinking or naive optimism. It is about understanding the mechanics of existence itself. Just as a computer runs on code, your reality operates on underlying patterns, beliefs, frequencies, and archetypal scripts that dictate how energy manifests. Change the code, and you change the world. But first, you must awaken to the fact that you have been asleep, that the world you perceive is but one layer of an infinite dimensional game. Consider the humble hologram, a two-dimensional surface that, when illuminated, reveals a three-dimensional image. Cut it into pieces, and each fragment still contains the whole. In the same way, every thought you think, every emotion you feel, is not isolated. It ripples across the entire field of existence. Your anger fuels wars you never see. Your love heals strangers you will never meet. You are both the artist and the canvas, the dreamer and the dream. So the question is no longer, is reality a hologram? But rather, what will you do now that you know? Will you continue to sleepwalk through a pre-written script? Or will you take the reins of perception and begin the sacred act of reprogramming? The tools are ancient, the path is hidden in plain sight, and the time for hesitation is over. The journey begins with a single terrifying realization. Nothing is as it seems, and from that rupture in the ordinary, a new world is born. To grasp the holographic nature of reality is to step into a hall of mirror-seach reflection, revealing another layer of deception, another doorway into the unseen mechanics of existence. This is not merely a theory. It is a living, breathing truth that has been encoded in ancient texts, whispered in esoteric circles, and now echoed by the cutting edge of quantum science. But what does it mean for reality to be a hologram? And more importantly, how does this understanding dismantle the illusions that have held humanity in chains for millennia? The universe as a projection? At the heart of the holographic paradigm lies a radical idea. The physical world is not the base layer of reality, but a secondary effect, a projection of something far deeper. Imagine a movie screen. The images appear solid, dynamic, real, yet they are nothing more than light interacting with the surface. In the same way, what we call reality is an emergent phenomenon, a cosmic film playing across the canvas of consciousness. The implications are staggering. If the universe is a projection, then space, time, and matter are not fundamental, they are constructs, illusions generated by a deeper, non-local field of information. This is why mystics have long spoken of Maya, the great illusion. This is why quantum physicists struggle to explain how particles behave as waves until observed, as if reality requires a perceiver to crystallize into form. The hologram is not a static image. It is interactive, responsive, shaped by the very act of perception. And if perception shapes reality, then who or what is doing the perceiving? The mind as a receiver and transmitter. Most people assume their thoughts are private, internal, confined to the skull. But if reality is holographic, then thoughts are not locked inside the brain, they are ripples in the field, frequencies that influence the entire matrix. Your mind is not just a passive observer, it is a co-creator, broadcasting signals that the hologram then mirrors back to you. This is the hidden mechanism behind manifestation, synchronicity, and even so-called miracles. When your inner state shifts, the outer world must rearrange itself to match. Yet, there is a catch. The hologram is also a feedback loop, reinforcing what it is fed. If you believe in limitation, the universe will oblige. If you accept fear as truth, fear will sculpt your reality. This is why so many feel trapped. They are caught in a self-reinforcing cycle of thought patterns they never chose, programs installed by culture, trauma, and unseen influences. But just as a computer virus can corrupt a system, these mental programs can be rewritten. The fractal nature of reality. Another defining feature of a hologram is its fractal quality, the whole contained in every part. Break a holographic plate into pieces, and each fragment still reconstructs the entire image. In the same way, every moment of your life contains the blueprint of the whole. The patterns of your relationships mirror cosmic dynamics. The struggles you face are microcosms of universal laws. There is no true separation, only the illusion of it. This is why ancient traditions spoke of as above, so below. It is why recurring numbers, déjà vu, and archetypal stories appear across cultures and epochs. The hologram is a self-similar pattern, repeating at every scale. And once you see the pattern, you begin to recognize it everywhere in the spirals of galaxies, the branching of trees, the neural networks of the brain. Reality is not random. It is a living code, and you are both the programmer and the program. The control mechanism, why you don't realize it's a hologram. If reality is so malleable, why does it feel so solid? Why do most people live and die without ever glimpsing the truth? Because the hologram has built-in safeguards, a control system designed to keep you unaware of your own power. This system operates on multiple levels. Language, which structures thought and defines what is real. Time, which creates the illusion of linear cause and effect. Memory, which reinforces the story of a fixed identity. Emotion, which anchors beliefs into the body. But the most potent mechanism is consensus reality, the unspoken agreement that things are as they appear. When billions of minds focus on the same illusions, those illusions gain tremendous inertia. Yet history shows us that consensus can shift overnight. Empires fall, paradigms collapse, and new worlds are born. The question is, what happens when enough people wake up and withdraw their energy from the old program? The key to reprogramming: frequency and focus. If reality is a hologram, then the lever of change is not force, but resonance. Just as a tuning fork vibrates in harmony with its matching frequency, your consciousness attracts realities that match its dominant state. This is why positive thinking alone fails it is not about slapping a happy face over deep-seated beliefs, but about rewiring the subconscious programs that generate your default frequency. The ancients knew this. This is why rituals, mantras, and sacred geometry were used not as superstitions, but as technology to recalibrate the mind and align it with higher dimensional codes. When you shift your inner frequency, the hologram has no choice but to reflect that shift. The challenge is that most people are broadcasting conflicting signals, wanting abundance but fearing lack, seeking love but expecting betrayal. The hologram responds to the dominant vibration, not the surface desire. This is the core revelation. You are not at the mercy of reality. Reality is at the mercy of your awareness. The moment you grasp this, the game changes. Revelations about the holographic nature of existence are not new. They have been woven into the myths, sacred texts, and esoteric traditions of every culture since the dawn of human consciousness. These stories were never meant to be taken literally. They were coded transmissions, maps left behind by those who understood the illusory nature of reality. To truly grasp the hologram, we must decipher these allegories, for they hold the keys to liberation from the program. The prison of the cave, Plato's prophetic vision. Over 2,000 years ago, Plato described prisoners chained in a cave, forced to stare at shadows cast upon a wall. These shadows were their only reality until one prisoner broke free, climbed into the blinding light of the sun, and realized the truth. The shadows were mere projections. When he returned to enlighten his fellow captives, they mocked him, preferring the comfort of their illusions to the terrifying brilliance of reality. This is not just an ancient parable, it is a mirror of our current existence. The cave is the hologram. The shadows are the constructs of society, and the chains are the beliefs that keep us fixated on a false reality. The sun, that is pure consciousness, the source code behind the projection. Most people would rather deny the truth than face the existential vertigo of realizing their entire world is a carefully crafted illusion. But the question remains, what is casting the shadows? The Gnostic myth, the archons and the false world. The Gnostics, early Christian mystics branded as heretics, spoke of a sinister truth. The material world was not created by a benevolent God, but by ignorant, lesser beings called archon-parasitic entities who feed on human fear and ignorance. According to their texts, humanity is trapped in a counterfeit reality, a prison of forgetfulness designed to keep souls enslaved in cycles of suffering. Modern minds may dismiss this as archaic superstition, but the metaphor is chillingly relevant. The archons are not literal demons, they represent the invisible control systems that manipulate human perception. Media, political structures, economic traps, and even the internalized voices of self-doubt and limitation. The hologram is not neutral, it has gatekeepers, and their greatest trick is convincing you that you were never in chains to begin with. The dream of the butterfly, Zhuangzi's paradox. In an ancient Chinese parable, the philosopher Zhuangzi dreamed he was a butterfly, fluttering joyfully without care. Upon waking, he was struck with a profound uncertainty. Am I Zhuangzi who dreamed I was a butterfly, or a butterfly now dreaming I am Zhuangzi? This riddle cuts to the heart of the holographic enigma. If reality is a projection, then who is the dreamer? The answer is both simple and shattering. You are. The waking world is no more real than the dream world. Both are constructs of consciousness, layers of the same infinite mind. The difference is that in dreams, you know you are the creator. In waking life, you have forgotten. But when you remember, when you truly grasp that you are the dreamer and the dreamed, the entire illusion trembles. The Matrix, modern mythology of the hologram. When The Matrix was released in 1999, it struck a chord so deep that it became a cultural phenomenon. People resonated with the story of Neo, a man who discovered that his world was a simulated prison controlled by unseen forces. But the film was not just sci-fi, it was a modern retelling of ancient wisdom. Morpheus's red pill is the moment of awakening the irreversible realization that reality is not what it seems. The agents are the enforcers of the system, the parts of the hologram that resist change. And Neo's final revelation? That the rules of the Matrix only bind those who still believe in them. Once he sees through the code, he bends reality at will. This is the ultimate symbolic truth. The hologram has rules, but they are only unbreakable until you realize they are yours to rewrite. The cosmic game. Reality as a divine play. In Hindu philosophy, there's a concept called Lilithe, idea that the universe is the play of the divine, an endless dance of creation and destruction. God is not some distant ruler, but the actor playing every role, the audience watching every scene. You, me, the stars, the voidal are expressions of the same infinite consciousness, pretending to be separate for the sheer joy of the game. This is the hologram's deepest secret. You are God, pretending not to be. The suffering, the struggles, the apparent limitations all are part of the drama, self-imposed challenges to make the game more compelling. But when the player wakes up and remembers their true nature, the game changes. The script loses its power. The illusion becomes a playground. The choice, sleep or sovereignty. These myths all lead to the same crossroads. You can accept the hologram as fixed and immutable, living out a pre-written role in someone else's story. Or you can recognize it for what it is, a fluid, interactive dream where the only true law is consciousness itself. The symbols are everywhere. waiting for those with eyes to see. The question is no longer, is reality a hologram? But what will you do now that you know? The realization that reality is a hologram is not merely a philosophical revelation, it is a call to action. If the world is a projection of consciousness, then every moment presents an opportunity to reprogram the code. But how does this translate into tangible change? How do we step out of passive observation and into active creation? The answers lie in bridging the mystical with the mundane, transforming esoteric truth into lived experience. The body as an antenna, tuning your frequency. Your physical form is not separate from the hologram, it is an extension of it, a bioelectric receiver and transmitter of vibrational information. Every cell, every neural pathway, every heartbeat resonates with the frequency of your dominant state of being. This is why ancient traditions placed such emphasis on breath, movement, and sacred posture. They understood that the body is the interface between the unseen and the seen. To begin reprogramming the hologram, you must first recalibrate your vessel. Practices like Qigong, yoga, or even simple, conscious breathing are not just exercises, they are algorithms for reality manipulation. When you slow your breath, you alter brainwave patterns. When you move with intention, you disrupt stagnant energy. The body is the first layer of the illusion to master because it is the anchor of your perception. A tense body reinforces a tense reality. A fluid body opens the door to fluid possibilities. Language as spellcraft, the words that shape worlds. Every word you speak is a vibration, a ripple in the holographic field. Ancient cultures knew this intimately, hence the power of mantras, incantations, and true names. Modern society has reduced language to a transactional tool, but its true function is far more potent. It is the programming language of reality. Consider how often you unconsciously reinforce limitation. This always happens to me. I'll never get ahead. Money is hard to come by. These are not statements, they are commands, directives issued to the hologram. To change your reality, you must first change your speech. This is not about empty affirmations, but about conscious utterance. Speak as if your words are manifesting in real time because they are. Time as an illusion. Escaping the prison of Chronos. The hologram's most convincing trick is the illusion of linear time, the belief that past, present, and future are fixed and separate. Yet every mystic and every quantum physicist will tell you the same truth. Time is a construct. It is a narrative device, a way for consciousness to experience itself sequentially. When you dwell on past traumas, you resurrect them in the present. When you fixate on future anxieties, you manifest them before they arrive. The key to liberation is anchoring in the eternal now, the only moment that truly exists. Meditation is not about emptying the mind, it is about collapsing time, experiencing the fullness of being outside the hologram's artificial sequencing. The more you operate from this timeless space, the more you gain leverage over reality's apparent rules. Synchronicity as feedback, the hologram's communication system. When you begin altering your frequency, the hologram responds not in vague, esoteric ways, but through synchronicities, those seemingly coincidental moments that carry profound personal meaning. These are not random. They are the universe's way of signaling you are on the right track. Most people dismiss synchronicities as chance, but the awakened recognize them as interactive feedback. The more you acknowledge them, the more they multiply, creating a dialogue between you and the deeper layers of the code. Start tracking them. Note their patterns. They are breadcrumbs leading you towards your highest alignment. The collective reprogramming, shifting the global hologram. You are not working in isolation. Every individual awakening creates a ripple in the collective field. History's greatest leap, social, scientific, spiritual, occurred when enough people shifted their perception in unison. This is why oppressive systems fear mass awakening. The hologram updates when consensus does. Your personal transformation is not selfish, it is a revolutionary act. As you reprogram your reality, you contribute to a larger recalibration. The old world's crumbling structures are not a cause for despair, but evidence of the spell breaking. The question is, what new code will you help install? Practical steps to reprogram the hologram. Morning recalibration. Before engaging with the world, spend 10 minutes in silence, setting the vibrational tone of your day. State aloud, I am the programmer. This reality conforms to my highest vision. Energy hygiene: regularly cleanse your space and body with sound, bells, singing bowls, sacred smoke, Palo Santo, sage, or intention. The hologram attaches to stagnant energy. Script revision: identify one limiting belief per week and rewrite it. For example, money is scarce becomes abundance flows effortlessly to me. Repeat it until it overrides the old code. Synchronicity journal: record meaningful coincidences daily. Over time, you'll decode the hologram's language. Collective resonance: join or create communities of conscious creators. Mass intention bends reality faster. The invitation: the hologram is not a fixed sentence, it is an ongoing negotiation. Every choice, every thought, every breath is a line of code. You were born into this simulation, but you are not bound by its rules. The moment you claim your role as programmer, the illusion becomes clay in your hands. The greatest trick the hologram ever played was convincing you that you were powerless within it. But now you know the truth, that every limitation, every obstacle, every seemingly immovable law of your existence is nothing more than a subroutine in a grand cosmic program. And like any program, it can be hacked, rewritten, and ultimately transcended. This is not a metaphor. This is not philosophy. This is the fundamental nature of reality, as evidenced by the mystics, the quantum pioneers, and the silent whispers of your own awakened awareness. The question that remains is not, can you reprogram the hologram, but will you? The final illusion: the fear of sovereignty. There is a reason so many resist this truth, even when they sense its validity. To accept that reality is malleable is to accept absolute responsibility for your experience. No more blaming fate, the system, or the past. No more hiding behind the comfortable lies of victimhood. The moment you claim your power as a creator, you also accept the weight of that power, and that terrifies the part of you still clinging to the illusion of safety and limitation. But here's the secret. The fear is part of the program. It is the hologram's last line of defense, the final firewall keeping you from accessing your true potential. The system would rather you stay distracted, doubtful, and just awakened enough to glimpse the truth, but not enough to act on it. Break through that barrier, and the entire illusion shudders. The choice that defines everything. You stand now at the precipice of two worlds. The old world, where you are a passive participant in a pre-written script, begging for scraps of meaning from a reality that was never designed to fulfill you. The new world, where you are the architect, the artist, the divine intelligence playing at being human, bending the code to your will. There is no middle ground. You cannot unsee what you have seen. The only options are to retreat back into the comfortable lure, to step forward into a life so radically authentic that the hologram itself must reconfigure around you. The ultimate key? Living as if it's already changed. The hologram responds to conviction, not hope. It mirrors embodied belief, not fleeting desire. This is why so many manifestation techniques fail. They are performed from a place of lack, not mastery. The true alchemy happens when you stop trying to change reality and start acting as if the shift has already occurred. When you no longer hope for abundance but operate from abundance. When you no longer seek love but radiate love. When you no longer beg for freedom but embody freedom. The hologram has no choice but to reflect that state back to you. This is not magic. This is physics. Your mission, should you choose to accept it. The call is clear. Stop waiting for permission. The gatekeepers are illusions. The rules are suggestions. The only authority is your own consciousness. Commit to daily reprogramming. The hologram will test you. Old patterns will resurface. Stay the course. Surround yourself with rebels. Find those who see through the illusion. Play the game consciously. You don't have to abandon the world, just stop taking it so seriously. Create. Experiment, and watch how reality bends in response. The invitation. This is your moment. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready. Now, the hologram is already shifting with or without you. The question is whether you'll be dragged by the current or step into your role as a conscious creator. The tools are in your hands. The knowledge is in your mind. The power is in your being. The only thing left is to act.